Bring in show music, please.
This is Squawk Pod, and I'm CNBC producer Cameron Costa. On today's episode, President Trump's campaign against Venezuela, the oil, drugs, and immigration factors at play, with CNBC contributor Michelle Caruso-Cabrera.
Maduro is in league with Russia, China, Iran, Hezbollah, and Cuba.
And with new AI comes new challenges. Tech's year ahead with investor and entrepreneur Bradley Tusk.
You need vast amounts of energy, and if energy consumption doubles, which is what the prediction is, and if energy supply stays relatively flat, obviously prices go way, way up.
Plus, the rest of today's news that got us squawking, Bank of America's CEO on tariffs, and blink and you miss the changes that come to legacy tech companies.
It's hard. It's hard to keep up. Do we know whether the Mag 7 will they be the new Mag 7 in the AI world?
It's Monday, December 29th. Is the Santa Claus rally on?
Gold and silver, asymptotic. Silver is.
Squawk Pod begins right now.
Stand Joe by. 3, 2, 1. His mic here.
Good morning and welcome. Welcome back to Squawk Box. You're probably here on Friday, here on CNBC Live from the NASDAQ market site in Times Square. I'm Joe Kernen, along with Leslie Picker and Mike Santoli. Becky and Andrew are off today, but we've got you covered. We go to you all the time and we go to you too. Maybe we can. Do any banks have positions in silver, like short positions or something? Haven't you heard over the years all these rumors about
positions?
Yeah,
anymore.
I know, but I've heard so many. JP Morgan's doing this. This is crazy. This is like Hunt Brothers. Like you weren't around for that, but
I mean, I was literally alive for that, but I wasn't watching the silver market too closely.
You weren't like
I think that's honestly why
you were like Alex P. Keaton watching silver when you were like
exactly
4.
10 years old.
Mike Santoli was, though.
Yeah, he was.
But here's the thing: that's why you have the constant conspiracy theories.
Yeah,
somebody's cornering the market, and that there's something not on the up and up. It's just not that big a market for J.P. Morgan to care that much about cornering it.
Suddenly, it was the second biggest
$4
asset
trillion
class.
But I mean,
yeah.
I did think that was everything.
That was weird, but wow, it's almost as big in market cap as a former graphics chips.
Yeah,
it was
exactly.
NVIDIA before it became NVIDIA was just like a
kind of powering the Xbox.
Right, a couple of days left. This is the Santa Claus period now. It's the last 5 trading days.
This is day 3.
Day 3, and then
period.
a couple in the new
year.
year, where we start saying as the first hour of the first.
Then you got it.
So goes the first day. As the first day, so goes the first week. As the first week goes, so goes the first month. And we start making all these ridiculous forecasts.
Not much of it really is that much of a clincher of an argument one way or the other.
No.
Frankly. I mean, the Santa Claus rally, we were down the last 2 years. You had 2 great years in the market that followed.
When was the last time?
All it was ever supposed to do was give you an early warning signal of potential difficulty in the year to come. Now, you want to talk about the springtime pullback being what the negative Santa Claus rally last year was telling you? I doubt it. So I just think we've combed through these things a little too.
And when was the last time you had to rack your brains to think, was that an original AFL? Was that an NFC?
Well, yeah.
Remember when we did that every year? It was like,
yes.
if it was do you remember?
Yeah.
If it was an original one, it had to,
For example, the Kansas City Chiefs original AFL.
Right, that stopped.
Right.
That stopped, right? We don't even pay attention.
Right, because they work until they don't.
Because it stopped working. Yields I saw this morning, if you're following those, I thought 411 on the 10-year or so. Well, where is it right now? It is 411, which we act like 3 basis point moves make a difference.
I know.
Nothing's really.
For 2 years, it's been pretty.
The bond vigilantes
pretty steady.
Are people that want them to be back keep saying they're back, but
yeah,
they're really maybe they should be.
I mean, I think you'd have to say 4.5 at minimum is that's when you're talking about there's something else getting priced into the long end of the curve. I don't know. Also, though, you talk about maybe getting a couple more rate cuts on the short end. How flat do you want the yield curve to be? Like, how much do you want long-term yields to go down if you actually think you have a good growth outlook, nominal GDP is going to be pretty strong? I don't know how much you'd expect it to go below 4%, if at all.
Right.
So, well, we are still watching those metals this morning. Silver topped $80 an ounce over the weekend for the first time ever. You see, it is pulling back this morning. It's under 75, so about 3% over the last little tracking period. It was up more than 14% last week alone. For the year, it is up more than 150%. Gold coming off records as well from the end of last week. It is up about 70% this year. You see it's at 44.81. It did have a peak above 4,500, down 1.6%. Copper slightly off its all-time high. Meantime, platinum and palladium giving back some of Friday's big gains as well.
And Bank of America CEO Brian Moynihan says most countries around the world are starting to have clarity on the tariffs they'll face when doing business with the U.S. after initial confusion when President Trump rolled out his tariff plans in April. Moynihan taped an interview with CBS's Face the Nation earlier this month, and it aired yesterday.
What you've seen now as time's moved on, it's sort of a 15% on one side and then a higher number based on people who won't commit to purchase from the U.S. or won't commit to lowering their non-tariff barriers and things like that. To go from a 10% across the board to 15% for the broad base of countries, not a huge impact. And that's where our team says it's starting to de-escalate and that you're starting to see the resolution of the discussions.
Moynihan noted China was a special case given there are national security and rare earth mineral issues involved there. He said the president's tariff announcement back in April hit small businesses hard, but now their main concern is labor availability. He said business owners want rules when it comes to immigration, regardless of what those rules are. He's been really beating that drum of kind of the small business impact relative to large corporations that are doing fine, making the distinction between the two as it pertains to loan demand, as it pertains to who's being impacted by inflation, as it pertains to immigration and labor issues as well.
There's been a big split. Obviously, the small business sentiment surveys have been pretty weak. Also, you know, when it comes to who Fed rate cuts help, it actually is more small business than it is the big companies that can access the public bond markets. And people have also argued that in the AI world, it also the benefits to scale. So it does seem as if there's a big split between, you know, the fortunes of big and small companies.
Yeah.
Well, President Trump is scheduled to talk about the Israel-Hamas peace process and security situation in the Middle East today when he meets with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Florida. Trump and Netanyahu last saw each other face-to-face in October at the start of the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. That has largely held, but progress has slowed, with both sides accusing the other of violations. Trump and Netanyahu may talk about a more complicated second phase of the peace process today, including implementation of Trump's 20-point plan for Gaza. Threats from Iran are also expected to be on the agenda.
Former IBM chairman and CEO Lou Gerstner has died at age 83. IBM chairman and CEO Arvind Krishna announcing Gerstner's death in an email to employees yesterday. The message did not specify a cause of death. He became the first outsider to run IBM when he took the top job at the company in 1993, coming to the role from the CEO position at RJR Nabisco. I thought, was he at McKinsey?
It might be right, yeah,
right.
Before RJR.
I saw him not too long ago. He was credited with turning around IBM's business and pivoting the company towards services. IBM stock was up more than 700% during his tenure. Recently had a bit of a resurgence, but had some real tough years in terms of revenue and everything else. Became old tech, became legacy tech. Yeah. He retired from the company in 2002. You might recall, became the chairman of the Carlyle Group until 2008, and we send sympathies to his family. Yeah. And I'm just hearing about this now. I didn't. Yeah,
it was kind of a, really important figure in the whole 90s kind of restructuring wave. You know, it got a lot of criticism at the time. I think there were 350,000 IBM employees in the early 90s. There are 270 now, and the company's vastly bigger in market value. His book was Who Says Elephants Can't Dance, which was about his remaking of IBM. And I think it's a reminder, it's relevant now as big companies are dealing with technological productivity shifts and all the rest of it, that the whole 90s was full of large legacy companies shedding a lot of employees and getting their costs in line. And, you know, Gerstner was right there with all that.
So I guess I would say elephants can't dance, probably.
Maybe not well, you know.
No, what's the market? Market cap has come around, but...
Oh, yeah. I mean,
it was the preeminent tech company in the world with mainframes and everything. It's $285 billion.
Right. Now they've split off businesses over the years. You know, they get out of PCs
doing better than
and
digital
laptops.
equipment and
Yes, exactly.
data general.
Hey, listen, they started out with like time clock machines and
Right.
stuff, and you know, it's they've managed to
Xerox,
remake
Novell.
themselves.
I mean,
but I mean IBM, literally. I mean, I think
landscape
that's
is
what it
just
was.
littered with. It's hard. It's hard to keep up.
Yeah.
I think it's even hard. Do we know whether the Mag 7 is?
That's
will
right.
they be the new Mag 7 in the AI world?
Well, I think that's the
They're
big
all
question.
trying hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're doing better. Google's been, and Microsoft. Microsoft, no matter what, just seems to.
They've navigated like 2 or 3 major shifts pretty damn well. Yeah.
Organizationally, the tech companies of today, though, are just different. They're positioned to be able to pivot. And when you see the layoffs from Amazon and others, a lot of time it's just to be more streamlined, to be able to adapt to the new technologies and things like that. Whereas more of the legacy companies just had
Well,
so
IBM
much.
was a manufacturing company, pretty much.
Right.
You know, so back
It
then.
was structured as one,
Yeah.
as opposed to a tech company.
Meta.
Yeah.
I'm you know what? I'm getting off MySpace. It's just not
Yeah.
doing it for me. I've never been on MySpace, but they.
I was gonna say.
Weren't they in the same business as?
Sure. Yeah. The kind of before Facebook.
Wasn't managed quite as well.
No.
Was it?
Wasn't managed
Didn't
as well.
take
It was
advantage of the
acquired.
strategic.
That's right. My understanding, it still exists in some
way.
kind of a shell form, but almost exclusively as a way for bands to keep in touch with like their fan bases.
Really?
That's what I hear. Yeah.
Wow.
This could be like 5-year-old information, but yeah.
No, I was never on. I was never on.
I was never on MySpace either.
I've never been on Facebook.
No?
Ever.
Yeah, me
Instagram?
neither. Not
You,
on
my
Facebook.
man, Mike, give me a high five. You have not?
No,
You've
not
never been
on
on Facebook?
No.
I don't care what other people are doing, especially if they're doing great things. You know, if they're having all, I don't need
Right.
FOMO.
Nobody needs to find me.
Tease will be next.
Coming up on Squawk Pod, CNBC contributor Michelle Caruso-Cabrera helps us unpack what's happening in Venezuela, including its mass exodus and its stolen election as the country's president, Nicolas Maduro, attempts to concentrate power.
The opposition has been on a roadshow trying to prove that they can lead. They started it here in New York. I attended. They've got a whole PowerPoint presentation.
And we're back. This is Squawk Pod.
You're watching Squawk Box on CNBC. I'm Joe Kernen along with Leslie Picker and Mike Santoli. Becky and Andrew are off, obviously, this morning. Welcome.
Thank you.
How was it?
I think it's been great. Great.
No,
Best
no,
hour.
the alarm.
Oh, I actually woke up before my alarm.
I always do. I always
was
turn
weird.
off my alarm. But
Really weird.
I dread hearing it. It's so
Yeah.
horrible, right? But
Yep.
getting up isn't so great. Among today, but you know what? Are we not happy
We're here.
to be here?
Not a lot to
We've
complain
got
about,
Cushy.
yeah.
The U.S. stepping up pressure on Venezuela's oil sector as President Trump tries to turn up the heat on Maduro's government. Joining us now is Michelle Caruso-Cabrera, well known to CNBC viewers, but she's now CEO of MCC Global. I almost feel like saying effing enterprises because it's so global, and also also a CNBC contributor. So you didn't want to focus Western Hemisphere, Monroe. You're global.
Yes.
Did you worry about being called a globalist because of that, or do you think you need to do everything, right, or else you can't just cover one part of the globe?
Well, I used to be the chief international
There you
correspondent
go.
here, right? Which basically meant I covered
So you're
financial
ready.
crises.
You
for
didn't
guys.
think, wow, that's too much.
No,
I can
no, I can handle the whole world.
You can handle this.
Yes.
This is good. What's happening in Venezuela, and just reading your comments and talking to you, you're not shy about this, what a lot of people would call interventionist policy. I sense that you think the Monroe Doctrine is something that is still relevant today, and that it matters what happens in the Western Hemisphere.
Well, certainly the Trump administration has reinvigorated the Monroe Doctrine. They have put it
But
in
you
print.
agree with it, I think, don't you?
Well, I would say Venezuela is one of the leading causes of instability in the Western
leading. Is it?
Hemisphere. Pretty much. I mean, the cause of mass migration in the Western Hemisphere is
And go into
essentially
that.
Venezuela.
How many people? 25%.
25%, more than 25% of the population of Venezuela left. That's roughly 8 million people. We got 750,000 here. 3 million went to Colombia. The gangs of Venezuela, which are extensive, it's a very criminal place, have used that exodus of people to send gang members throughout the Western Hemisphere. We had them here in the United States. It was an election issue. It's been an election issue throughout Latin America. And so that's been a cause of instability. The other issue is that Maduro is in league with Russia, China, Iran, Hezbollah, and Cuba.
Gives all those bad actors a foothold in
the Western Hemisphere. And many administrations looked the other way for decades, and now this is a return to the Monroe Doctrine, and then also the corollary that was put in place by Theodore Roosevelt, which said, we can use gunboat diplomacy if we need to. So they've obviously embraced that for a number of reasons.
And I see, critics of the Trump administration said that they're not a big exporter of fentanyl. Like, it makes a difference whether it's coke or heroin or fentanyl. They have been poisoning the country with exports of illicit substances for years, right?
It is without a doubt that they provide cover for the export of drugs. Remember, I sat on this set during the Obama administration, did a story about Maduro's stepson being arrested by the DOJ in Haiti. He had flown into Haiti in a plane with cocaine, expecting to do a deal with another drug runner. It turned out to be an undercover agent. And that plane left the presidential hangar in Venezuela. So there's no doubt that they, even if they're not producing fentanyl, they're very much involved with the drug trade, for sure.
And
the thing is, you break it, you bought it. Like, what comes next? Okay.
Well, we look at Argentina and we think good things can happen for the world in South America if things go right.
Yes.
At least, I know that we have our own idea about what go right means. There's socialists that wish that socialism was working down there. But is it okay to say it's when capitalism breaks out and free markets break out, good things happen to the entire hemisphere?
So what's so interesting about Argentina and what the parallel is to Venezuela is that Argentine voters chose free markets and capitalism and small government. Voters almost never choose small government.
So did Venezuela.
And so did Venezuela. They held an election, which Maduro ignored, and is still in power. So the opposition does have democratic legitimacy.
Well, that's why Trump has so much sympathy for Venezuela. Another stolen election down there.
Yes.
Well, I'm kidding.
So I just got that joke.
Yeah.
The opposition has been on a roadshow trying to prove that they can lead. They started it here in New York. I attended. They've got a whole PowerPoint presentation that you can look at for all of the different sectors that you can invest in Venezuela if and when they come to power. A very, very orthodox investment structure as opposed to what they've been living under. That doesn't mean they can lead, though. It takes more than that.
And they're all trying to show that they can. And others say we just want to steal the oil. But that's not it either. If you destabilize the oil economy of Venezuela, then the regime might not last.
I would turn that around. People say, we want to steal the oil. I think the way to think about it is if Venezuela could go back to producing the 3 million barrels per day that they used to produce, that they could easily produce instead of the less than 1 billion barrels per day that they do right now, they would have more revenue. They would have a more stable economy. 8 million people wouldn't want to leave, right? They would want to,
That's the socialism equivalent of 3 billion per day is 700,000, isn't it? That's what you get when
it's been complete mismanagement, which started long before the sanctions. I hear all the time, the sanctions did this. No. The sanctions did not do this. When Hugo Chavez came to power 26 years ago, the plan was for the Venezuelan oil company to produce 6 million barrels a day. And he said, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Why would we want to produce more oil? That will lower prices. We should produce less oil. That was his rationale. So
we might take care of Cuba with one fell swoop.
So Cuba's very interesting. Cuba obviously is very connected to Venezuela. Cuba survives only because of Venezuela. Venezuela providing them used to be 100,000 barrels per day, then 80,000 barrels per day. What I read is now it's 30,000 barrels per day. They have terrible instability there. More people left Cuba last year than they did in the early 60s. Right.
So
because
two for the
so
price
desperate
of one.
There.
That regime.
Yeah, that's, Mary Anastasio Grady has a very good column today in the Wall Street Journal about, okay, post-Cuba, what do you do there? That's almost even harder because that infrastructure is much more debilitated even than it is in Venezuela.
We're rushing to the spot of Maduro's gone. What does it take to get there?
That's a very good point. He has survived tough situations before. So
and what would the U.S. have to do beyond what's going on right now?
And that's a good question. What we don't know is to what degree is the military with him or not. to what degree, if you cut off, so what is the goal of stopping the tankers, stopping the drug boats? The goal is to cut revenue to the administration, right, to Maduro's. Yeah. And that's how he keeps everybody happy, right? Those chits and that money that goes out. If you cut that off, the theory is, okay, maybe the military turns, maybe there's something, or maybe you do a negotiated change where you say, okay, the top X number of leaders got to go, they got to go into exile, whatever, and then they co-opt the military, they co-opt the Chavistas, and then come up with some negotiated settlement, which there is precedent for that in the world. The trillion-dollar question is, what comes after Maduro, if we get to that point, which is a good point.
I don't know. Just listening to you, you just didn't sound like you didn't sort of have some empathy towards what the administration is conducting.
I can't imagine anybody who doesn't have empathy as an American that it would be better to see
don't. They
a
go
different...
crazy with the drug boats and stuff, and that we're doing that without due process or whatever. Remember when we set out to kill all the people on the drug boats with the first strike, right? That's what we're trying to do, is to destroy the boat. And then, how long did the media? It was about 2 weeks that was just nonstop. That there were a couple guys hanging on the side of the boat.
There's certainly questions about the legality.
Right.
What I'm saying is a change in Venezuela to not desire an improvement in the economy, which has fallen 30%, 40%. I mean, they haven't. They're below 2012 levels.
This is the Michelle Caruso-Cabrera of old. This is the you know I'm right, Michelle Caruso-Cabrera. That was the name of your book, was it not?
Yes, it was.
You know I'm right.
More prosperity, less government. Yes.
More prosperity, less government.
I mean,
and then you lost your way. You turned into Mamdani for a while.
I have never.
Are you still? If you were to run again, what would you?
Personally, I believe personal accountability and capitalism is something that should be true for both parties. And I have many friends in the Democratic Party who believe that. And
you're still a Democrat?
I'm a registered Democrat, yes.
Okay. All right. You're in New York. To each his own. Thank you. It's good to see you. It's always good to have you on. It's always fun.
Yes.
Thank you. We know each other.
Oh, for sure. More than 20 years, dude.
Next, the holiday weekend at the box office.
People complain we don't have any movie stars. Is Timothy Chalamet, is he ever going to be Clark Gable?
And the artificial intelligence revolution driving the need for more power in the U.S. Investor Bradley Tusk on the energy slowdown that could leave us behind.
We have a huge problem in this country on energy permitting, just like we do with building affordable housing. And it makes the process so wildly slow and expensive that it becomes really hard to bring new forms of energy online.
Squawk Pod will be right back. You're listening to Squawk Pod today with Joe Kernen, Mike Santoli, and Leslie Picker.
Stand Joe Biden in 3, 2, his mic, cue.
Avatar, Fire and Ash remaining number one at the box office. This is the third film in the Avatar franchise. It earned $64 million over the weekend, $88 million between Christmas and yesterday. The movie did open softer than the prior Avatar film, but did better in its second weekend in theaters. Overseas, it has earned more than $500 million. I saw this separately. Timothy Chalamet, the drama Marty Supreme, took the number 2 spot at the box office over the long weekend, earning $27 million and beating the Jack Black comedy Anaconda. The total for Marty Supreme is a major win for indie film studio A24. It's by some of the same gentlemen that did Uncut Gems, which was...
Yes, it's one of the Safdie brothers.
Yes.
Josh Safdie directed, yes.
Very unsettling to watch Uncut
yeah.
Gems. I've seen it twice.
Yeah.
And you need to see it. Adam Sandler was, and Kevin Garnett was amazing. This was amazing in terms of, if you don't think, people complain we don't have any movie stars. Is Timothy Chalamet, is he ever going to be Clark Gable? No. But is he a font of unbelievable talent? Yes.
Yeah.
See, I thought you were going to talk about Kevin
I
Garnett.
was going to, in reference to this, because Kevin, we had him on, he talked about it, and he was hilarious. He admitted it, that he was cast because they wanted an a-hole.
Absolutely.
Over and over again. I didn't have to act. They just said, be yourself, which he is, and he's great in it, and he co-stars literally with Timothy Chalamet and Gwyneth Paltrow.
Yeah.
I mean, he really does. John Catsimatidis
I know, I saw. I clocked him right away.
Yeah. But O'Leary said working with Chalamet that when he walks in, there's sparks coming off of him.
Yeah.
And there are.
Kind of amazing.
Through the entire, the thing with this, with the way they direct these movies or whatever it is, there's a lot of talking over, like this show.
Yeah.
But a lot, the way that the scripts are, you can't wait for one person to finish and then start listening to the other. It's wild. It is wild.
Well, that's what keeps the pace
speed
going.
at which he's speaking.
Did you see it yet?
I did so, yeah.
Wasn't it great?
Excellent. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll see it.
Everyone's hustling. Most of the hustles don't work.
Crazy though. Some of the scenes.
Wild. Yeah.
The dog scenes, the bathtub scenes.
Abel Ferreira.
Yeah, some of the Gwyneth Paltrow scenes. Crazy. OpenAI is looking to hire a new head of preparedness who will be responsible for studying risks ranging from computer security to mental health. The job listing is on OpenAI's career site with pay starting at more than $500,000 plus stock options.
Wow.
AI chatbot, what are you thinking about it?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay. AI chatbots have faced more scrutiny with lawsuits alleging that ChatGPT has reinforced users' delusions and also increased social isolation. There's a lot of hallucinating still going on. I've asked so many questions, different things, and they'll give me a definitive answer, and I'll ask it more specifically, and they'll say, no, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It's like, what? Don't tell me.
That's why
it takes
all those data centers to rethink everything and recombine.
It's still pretty crappy.
Oh, yeah. Well, for a look at AI potential regulation in the new year, we are joined by Bradley Tusk, founder and CEO of Tusk Ventures. Bradley, great to see you this morning. You've got a pretty thorough view of exactly where you think things are headed on the regulation side and the development side for AI. Obviously, we got this executive order this month from the president suggesting that the federal authorities should supersede states' new laws on AI. Of course, states can do what they want. They can pass the laws. Maybe the government will sue them. Maybe they won't. But how do you think this is coming together in terms of what elements of AI are being regulated, what states are leading?
Yeah, I think there's really three different categories. There's generative AI itself. So we just saw Governor Hochul amend and then sign the RAISE Act in New York. Governor Newsom did something similar a couple of months ago in California. There is the application of AI. So Joe mentioned quickly mental health chatbots. We saw Illinois and Nevada both ban those last year. 7 or 8 more states are taking that up right now. And then finally, and this is the one that I actually think is the biggest issue of all, which is the permitting and zoning for data centers. And that's not even at the state level, that's at the municipal and county level. And the reason I think that will actually be the biggest issue this coming year is simply in order to power generative AI with the way that we do compute in this country typically right now, you need vast amounts of energy. And if energy consumption doubles, which is what the prediction is, and if energy supply stays relatively flat, obviously prices go way, way up, and those costs are being borne by local consumers in their electricity bills. And once those consumers start putting 2 and 2 together and realizing that they're paying a lot more money so that NVIDIA or OpenAI or Oracle or whoever benefits as a result, they're going to revolt and they're going to throw everyone out of office. And politicians, I think, are smart enough to probably realize that. And I think we will start to see legislation all across the country that says that cities and counties cannot issue permitting to new data centers unless there is no corresponding energy cost increase for consumers. And that's really going to be the big fight of 2026.
Obviously, the industry, puts out these warnings that it's going to stifle innovation or slow down the process of the U.S. becoming or maintaining the lead in AI. Do you actually think that the data center permitting or maybe the backlash against them is something that could compromise the build out here?
No, for 2 reasons. First of all, if you were to say, hey, we're not going to make consumers bear the cost of all of this. And keep in mind, if there is significant short-term job displacement because of AI, if you're combining people losing their jobs with paying 50% more on their electricity bills, that's a revolution, right? Like, that is a really bad thing to let happen. But beyond that, we know there are alternate forms of compute, whether it's an inference model or people are using biological compute or different types of memory cylinders. So we know that that exists. And in a way, if you were to say we're not going to just impose all of these costs and negative externalities on consumers, it actually forces innovation. It forces the companies to say, how can we do the same sort of compute without the same sort of energy needs? So it's probably to the good. Yeah. The second is you mentioned sort of the AI race in terms of things like national security. That's certainly not a because the president allowed NVIDIA to sell the H200 chips to China last week or 2 weeks ago. And if this were a national security issue, you clearly wouldn't give your biggest enemy the most sensitive technology you have.
Yeah, I mean, obviously those are sort of one generation ago technologies, but your point is well taken. But I really want to jump on your point about the energy consumption piece of this, because I've been asking the question, intentionally a naive question from the beginning, which is, if power is the main constraint, why isn't all the energy, so to speak, going toward finding a way around it and engineering our way around it? And there was an article I keep pointing out from February of 1999 that said, dig more coal, the PCs are coming. Okay. Yep. People thought that the internet was going to actually soak up all the energy. So are we actually moving in that direction?
Well,
becoming more efficient.
Internet. Yeah. I mean, look, there are definitely solutions, which is kind of the point that you're making. So microgrid nuclear could be an excellent solution, right? And if this leads to a revolution where nuclear becomes a predominant real form of power in the United States, that's a great thing. We're not there right now. I have this thesis that if you were 10 years old or older when 3 Mile Island happened in 1979, you're still probably somewhat freaked out about nuclear energy. And if you were younger than that, or you weren't born yet, you don't really care. So I looked in, assuming that in this case, ChatGPT was right. And despite Joe's warning, which to me actually fits with my experience, it said that 78% of Americans were born after March of 1969, which would be the 10-year cutoff. So it may be that the social norms around nuclear energy have now changed sufficiently that that could become a real solution. So it is possible that there's lots of different ways to solve it, whether it's alternate forms of compute, different ways to power it. The thing that probably doesn't work right now is to say, we're not going to change the way that we provide the supply of energy, but yet we're just going to use a lot more of it. And look, we have a huge problem in this country on energy permitting, just like we do with building affordable housing, where we put all of these restrictions, all of these community reviews, all of these environmental reviews, all of these requirements to use labor to build everything. And it makes the process so wildly slow and expensive that it becomes really hard to bring new forms of energy online. And so just like we've seen the YIMBY movement in housing start to change that and make the construction of affordable housing easier, we've got to do the same thing with energy permitting.
Fukushima was scary. Chernobyl, I don't know if you saw that.
I did.
That was brutal. Yep. Hey, Bradley, TMI, no one died. They don't even know if anyone died afterwards. They can't really point to anything on.
So you would be okay with a lot more nuclear?
Yeah, I would. I don't know. You know what got most people wasn't TMI. It was the China syndrome, with Michael Douglas and that scared more people than TMI. Well, then TMI seemed to confirm the worst fears. But Fukushima, that'll get your attention, won't it? That place, 500 years. What's cesium? I mean, you worry about. People worry about carbon dioxide. How long does cesium that'll kill you? How long does that stay around? Half-life is like 600 years, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. Look, and obviously you can expedite permitting without disregarding safety, but it really does seem like a lot has improved. And a lot of those, whether it's TMI or Fukushima or Chernobyl, those were just much, much older technologies. They had been online for a while before they had their meltdowns. And so my hope would be, just like we keep developing advances in technology in every other sector, we're doing that in nuclear too. And we at least seriously explore it, because otherwise I really don't think that local politicians are going to be willing to lose their jobs to protect OpenAI or NVIDIA or whoever else. And if that means data centers can't get permitted at all, that's a huge problem.
Bradley, I got a lump of coal for Christmas from Santa. I was like, yes.
Yeah, there you go. That'll provide 1 gigawatt. Yeah, or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you were 11 when 3 Mile happened, so that's why you're okay with nuclear.
What?
79.
Yeah. Right around there. Right around there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. There you go.
Thank you, Bradley.
That's Squawk Pod for today. Thank you for listening. Squawk Box is hosted by Joe Kernen, Becky Quick, and Andrew Ross Sorkin. Thanks to Mike and Leslie for sitting in today. Tune in weekday mornings on CNBC at 6 Eastern and to get the smartest takes and analysis from our TV show right into your ears, follow Squawk Pod wherever you get your podcasts. We'll meet you right back here tomorrow. Have a great day.
We are clear. Thanks, guys.